It was an ordinary afternoon at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The crowd stood in respectful silence, their eyes fixed on the two guards who moved with the precision of machines and the dignity of warriors. Every click of their heels echoed against the stone like a heartbeat of devotion. Their uniforms were immaculate, their rifles gleaming in the sunlight, every motion performed as if choreographed by history itself. The weight of sacrifice hung in the air. For some in the crowd, it was emotional. For others, humbling. But for Dylan, it was nothing more than a spectacle. Dylan was the type of man who thrived on arrogance. Loud, brash, and eager for attention, he believed rules were made for others, never for him. His girlfriend tugged on his arm, whispering, "Don't. This place isn't for games." But Dylan only smirked, brushing her off. "Relax," he said. "They're just standing there. What's the big deal? Look, he can't even move." A grown man pretending to be a statue. Pathetic. A few heads turned sharply at his words. Whispers rose through the crowd, disapproval thick in the air, but Dylan enjoyed the attention. He stepped closer to the guard, sneering, testing boundaries no one else dared approach. "Come on, monkey," he taunted under his breath. "You can't flinch, right? You some kind of robot?" His girlfriend grabbed his sleeve again. "Dylan, stop, please. People are watching." But arrogance makes men blind. He leaned closer, too close, and in a reckless surge of cruelty, he drove his fist into the soldier's chest. Gasps erupted. The sound of knuckles striking armor echoed like a cannon in the silence. Cameras immediately lifted, fingers trembling on record buttons. The crowd couldn't believe what they had just seen. The soldier didn't blink. He didn't flinch. He didn't move an inch. His discipline was absolute, carved into him by years of training. But then, crack! The guard's white-gloved hand snapped out in a single, devastating motion. A slap so sharp, so precise, it echoed louder than Dylan's punch. Dylan's body crumpled as his head whipped sideways, teeth flying like shards of glass across the pavement. Blood poured from his mouth as he collapsed to the ground, groaning in agony, clutching his face. The crowd froze. Mouths hung open. Some covered their lips with their hands, unable to believe what they just witnessed. A few gasped out loud, others whispered in awe. And through it all, the soldier returned instantly to his stance, posture unbroken, as though nothing had happened. His eyes remained fixed ahead, his expression unreadable. Discipline had answered arrogance, and it had answered with finality. Dylan's girlfriend dropped to her knees beside him, panicked, trying to stop the bleeding, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Oh my God, Dylan!" she cried. But before she could plead further, the second guard, standing solemn beside his brother in arms, spoke in a voice so steady it chilled the crowd. "Ma'am, leave this ground. Now." Security rushed in, pulling Dylan to his feet as he wailed through the blood. His girlfriend begged them to let her explain, but the rules were iron. Dylan had crossed a line no one could ever excuse. He had desecrated sacred ground. The crowd was still buzzing when an elderly man stepped forward, removing his cap. His voice, heavy with years, carried across the silence like a sermon. "That guard is doing more than standing still," he said. "He carries every soldier who never made it home." The words pierced the air. The whispers stilled. Faces softened. Suddenly, the meaning of the tomb was revealed like a curtain drawn back. It wasn't just a memorial of marble and stone. It was every mother who never got to bury her son, every father who died waiting for his child's return, every wife who spent decades staring at the door, hoping it would open, every child who grew up with nothing but a folded flag and a fading photograph. To mock such devotion wasn't simply disrespect, it was desecration. Phones captured it all: the punch, the slap, the blood, the elderly man's words. By evening, the video had exploded online. Clips replayed endlessly. Dylan's arrogant smirk before the strike, the flawless discipline of the guard, the crack of the slap, the crowd's gasps, the stunned silence. Hashtags filled the feeds. Respect the tomb. Discipline. Unknown soldier. The comments flooded in. Chills. Absolute chills. This is what discipline looks like. He didn't just slap Dylan, he slapped arrogance itself. Every soldier deserves this respect. Veterans from every branch weighed in, their voices uniting across generations. A Marine wrote, "Those guards don't just stand watch, they stand for all of us who can't." An Army widow posted, "My husband's name is unknown to the world, but not to me. That guard stands for him." A Navy veteran added, "That slap carried the weight of every sacrifice made in silence." For Dylan, the humiliation was unbearable. Memes mocked him. His name trended for all the wrong reasons, but slowly something inside him shifted. Days later, swollen, bruised, and missing teeth, he appeared online again, not with arrogance, but with humility. His voice shook as he spoke. I want to apologize to the guard, to veterans, to everyone who saw me disrespect something I didn't understand. I thought I was being funny. I wasn't. That man showed me what discipline really is, what sacrifice really means. I'll never forget it. For once, Dylan wasn't jeered. Many accepted his apology, praising him for admitting fault. Others reminded him that respect should never require pain to be learned. But one thing was undeniable. Dylan had changed. He learned that discipline wasn't weakness, it was strength. He learned that some symbols are larger than any man, and mocking them diminishes only yourself. Most of all, he learned that arrogance collapses instantly when it collides with sacrifice. That day became legend. Not just because a bully was humbled, but because an entire crowd and later the world was reminded of the weight carried by those silent guards. People who had once seen them as ceremonial now understood. Every movement, every step, every moment of stillness was a vow made in honor of the unknown. As the crowd dispersed on that unforgettable afternoon, something extraordinary happened. One by one, they paused before leaving. Some bowed their heads, others saluted, others simply whispered thank you. No one needed to be told why. They felt it. They understood. And long after the blood was cleaned, long after Dylan disappeared into obscurity, the memory of that slap remained. Not as violence, but as devotion striking arrogance down. Because at the tomb of the unknown soldier, silence is not emptiness. It is sacrifice speaking louder than words.